Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Commissioner Roemer?
Nice to see you, Mr. Secretary, and nice to see you feeling better and getting around as well, too. I want to follow up on what happened in the Presidential Emergency Operations Center and try to understand that day a little bit better. You said, if I understood you correctly, that you were not in the room. You were obviously coming from the Department of Transportation where you had been busy in a meeting, in official business, but you had not been in the room when the decision was made to what you inferred was a decision made to attempt to shoot down Flight 77 before it crashed into the Pentagon. Is that correct?
I didn't know about the shooting, the order to shoot down. I arrived at the PEOC at about 9:20 a.m. and the president was in Florida, and I believe he was on his way to Louisiana at that point when the conversation that went on between the vice president and the president and the staff that the president had with him.
So when you arrived at 9:20, how much longer was it before you overheard the conversation between the young man and the vice president saying, does the order still stand?
It's probably about 5 or 6 minutes.
So about 9:25 or 9:26. And your inference was that the vice president snapped his head around and said, yes, the order still stands. Why did you infer that that was a shoot down?
Just by the nature of all the events going on that day, scrambling of the aircraft, and I don't know, I guess just being in the military, you do start thinking about an intuitive reaction to certain statements being made.
Who was the young man with the vice president?
Frankly, I don't recall.
And was there another line of communication between the vice president and you said you saw Mr. Richard Clark on your way in? Was Clark running an operations center as well on that day?
Dick was in the situation room.
So there was a situation room making decisions about what was going to happen on
I don't believe
shoot-downs
they
as
were
well as the
making,
PEOC?
I don't believe they were making any decisions. I think they were more information gathering from various agencies.
Could it have been in the situation room where somebody in the situation room recommended the shoot down and the vice president agreed to that?
Commissioner Roemer, I would assume that a decision of that nature would have had to be made at a much higher level than the people who were in the situation room.
So take me through that. The situation room is monitoring the daily minute-by-minute events, and they find out that Flight 77 is headed to the Pentagon. Somebody's got to be getting that information. The situation room is then communicating with the PEOC and saying, we've got another flight that's on its way toward the Pentagon. Here are the options. Then the vice president talks to the president and says, here are the options. We have a shoot-down recommendation. Do you agree, Mr. President? Is that what happens?
Again, that would be speculation on my part as to what was happening on that day. So I just wouldn't be able to really answer that
I know.
on that inquiry.
Because you had been conducting official business, and I'm sure you were hurriedly on your way over there.
As I was listening,
I'm just trying to figure out how the situation room, which is gathering, you know, the minute-by-minute evidence and information and talking probably to a host of different people and how they're interacting with the PEOC, and then how the PEOC is interacting with the president, who's at that point on Air Force One, how a decision is made to shoot down a commercial airliner. And then would you say, let's say we're trying to put that part of the puzzle together, then would your inference be that they scrambled the jets to shoot down the commercial airliner. It failed, and the commercial airliner therefore crashed into the Pentagon? That the jets were not able to get there in time to succeed in a mission that they'd been tasked to do?
I'm not sure that the aircraft that were scrambled to come up to the DC area from Norfolk were under orders to shoot the airplane down. As I said,
But it was an inference on your part.
it was an inference, without a doubt. And that's why, when in thinking about the United plane that went down in Pennsylvania, the question that arose in my mind.
Right away was that shot down? And did you ever get an answer to that?
Yes, sir. When Vice President and I talked about that, we then made the inquiry of the Department of Defense. They then got back to us saying, no, it was not our aircraft.
The shots were
That were
fired
shot.
and no effort was made to shoot that
That's
down.
correct.
I'm going to go to another
Yeah,
commissioner.
thank you.
Secretary's time is